How's it going, crypto community? I know. How many videos can I release in one day? I don't know. That's a challenge. I'm challenging myself. Can I release a video every hour of this day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.? We'll find out. Well, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. my time. We'll find out though, right? So in this video, we're going to be going over an article, this time from CoinDesk, that is talking about how the FATF's new rules are going to demand that all crypto exchanges share their clients' data with their local governments. If you're interested in hearing more about this and other crypto-related content, as always, be sure hit that like. If you're new, also hit that subscribe and ring that bell so you can be up to date with all the newest articles that I release. I try to get as much out each day as I possibly can, and I'm going to be a little more, hopefully, regular about actually getting content out to you as opposed to having, days where I only have 1 or 2 videos, right? So, jumping straight into the article. Again, before we jump in, this article is brought to you by Anna Baydakova, and it begins, a powerful intergovernmental organization devoted to combining money laundering and terrorism finance has finalized its recommendations on regulating crypto for its 37 member countries. As expected, the FATF standards released Friday include a controversial requirement that virtual asset service providers, including crypto exchanges, pass information about their customers to one another when transferring funds between firms. The final recommendations make official the contentations? What the heck? I don't know that word. Anyways, these recommendations are part of the FATF's February proposal, saying countries should make sure that when sending money, businesses should, and they quote, obtain and hold required and accurate originator-sender information and required beneficiaries recipient information and submit that information to beneficiary institutions. If any, further, countries should ensure that beneficiary institutions obtain and hold required, not necessarily accurate, originator information and required the accurate beneficiary information. Okay, so that is a bunch of jargon that probably made no sense to anybody, right? But ultimately, all they're saying in that is that these institutions must hold on to whatever information they've been provided by somebody as to who they are and who they're transferring their funds to between these institutions. Why? As I just said at the beginning, so that this information can then be passed on to the governmental regulatory bodies in which these exchanges are operating, whoever's borders these exchanges are operating on, right? Apparently I got like a mark or something on my face. I just caught it on the camera. Anyway. Under the new guidance published, the required information for each transfer includes the originator's name, their account number from which the transaction is leaving, and the originator's physical address, as in where you're from, national, your social security number or customer identification number, and the unique identifier that identifies the originator to the ordering institution. Things such as the date and place of that individual's birth, the beneficiary's name, and the beneficiary's account number where such an account is used to process the transaction, such as a VA wallet. So, calling the threat of criminal and terrorist misuse of virtual currencies as serious and urgent, the FATF says it will give countries 12 months to abide by the guidelines. And then we'll review those all individuals come June 2020. The so-called travel rule is a long-standing requirement for international banks when sending each other money on customers' behalf. But blockchain industry advocates argued that it would be erroneous, if not impossible, to put into practice with crypto, and harmful to users' privacy and counterproductive to law enforcement goals. Data analytics company Chainalysis, for example, has warned that instead of more transparency, the rule would spur services to shut down or drop off the radar. But despite hearing such concerns at a private sector or consulting meeting in Vienna last month, which drew 300 attendees, the FATF, led by the United States, pressed ahead. So to be clear, the FATF's recommendations for anti-money laundering policies are not binding. Member countries adopt them by passing legislation or writing regulations. However, countries that fail to comply with FATF standards will get put on a blacklist, which is going to make them radioactive to foreign investment. In other words, they're not going to be touched with a 10-foot pole. So the crypto guidelines come a week ahead of the annual group of G20 summit in Osaka, Japan on June 28th to 29th. The G20, comprised of 19 countries of the European Union, has been pushing for international harmonization of crypto regulations. The guidelines also come just before the United States' one-year presidency of the FATF ends on June 30th. So Marshall Billingsley, the U.S. Treasury official who holds the rotating position, has listed applying FATF standards to virtual currencies among his top priorities. So, is this good? Is this bad? It's up to you how you feel about the fact that your government's now going to be most likely requiring exchanges in your nation to divulge your private information to them so that they can track how much digital assets you have. And to be honest, you should have expected this. Everybody should have expected this to happen. But you can't hide from the government. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can go buy ADA or Monero or whatever, but here's the thing: those digital assets, which can't be tracked, which can't be pinned to you, there's a pretty high probability that they're going to be removed from the exchanges within the exchanges that are within these nations, which are going to abide by these laws, right? Monero and ADA, if they survive this coming slaughtering, they're most likely going to be black market currencies. They're going to be extremely hard to acquire and extremely hard to ensure that you're not being tracked into them by your affiliation with a non-private currency, right? If I take my XRP and I transfer it into Monero, sure, Monero is not going to show that I have that Monero whenever I transfer it to an ADA wallet, but here's the thing: it's still going to show up on my XRP ledger that I transferred that amount of value into Monero, and then who cares where I transfer it afterwards, because as soon as it hits another wallet, it doesn't matter, right? I still moved funds into this, and the government's going to be like, hey, where'd those funds go? Right? Because they know that I moved them there. And so there's likely going to be some kind of legal legal consequence for me doing that once these regulations are in place. That's why they're doing it. So they can come after individuals like you and I who are trying to hide our financial activities. I am not trying to hide my financial activities anymore. That's why I'm just sitting here, accruing. I'm not trading anymore because, well, first off, I lost a lot of money while trading, but also because trading is going to incur capital gains taxes. And so really, if I trade, there's a good chance that I'm actually going to lose all my money, that the government's just going to tax all the gains that I would have gotten anyways. So screw it. I'm just holding. I'm just stacking my bags as fat as I can until Moon comes, and then I'm going to live off those gains. I'm not going to sit there and try and play the market. No, I'm holding for the long haul. I'm here to stay. If I get 10% out at some point when it does go up to $5, $10 or whatever the exit point is that I had, my short midterm exit price that I decide that, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of profits. Whenever it hits that, am I going to try and get a portion of that back in at a lower price? Sure, but I'm not going to be doing it for a nominal 5% gain or something. Excuse me, I feel a sneeze coming on. Maybe not. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank God it was only one. I usually chain sneeze when I get a sneeze. Anyway, so the sneeze wiped away my thought process there. So it's really important to keep in mind that, yes, this is kind of scary for people who are in things like Bitcoin or Monero or whatever your untraceable digital asset is, but this is necessary. This is how we get the banks in. This is good for XRP investors and probably crap for everybody else out in the space that thinks that they're going to get away with that government's not actually taking an active role in this space, right? So, if you're upset by this, I'm sorry, but if you're an XRP investor, you should be excited about this because this is what we need to get our asset value pumping, right? Because this is the kind of legislation necessary to get financial institutions comfortable with possessing a digital asset, especially a digital asset like XRP that is focused around being as public as humanly possible, as compliant as humanly possible with the traditional financial system, with these systems that the FATF are pushing down the throat of all us consumers, so that the financial institutions can finally jump on board this thing that they've been saying, hey, we need regulations so that we can get involved because we're going to miss out on the train if y'all don't get your act together. That's what's going on, right? My opinion, not a financial advisor, obviously, so take it with a grain of salt, form your own opinion, do your own research, as always, right? Once again, if you're new to my channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want up-to-date information on digital assets, including mainly XRP. Also, hit that like if you appreciated this overview and also my opinion on it. And ring that bell if you want to stay up-to-date with all information that I release crypto-related. As always, I've been Jade, you've been watching The Martian Report, and I can't wait to see all of you, my XRP Martians, in my next video on Mars.